Innovative content. Global audience.
Yes, people. I want to believe that my system is in order, but I don't think so. I've been struggling here, trying to get on air for some reason. I'm sure things are not all right today. I've been struggling with it. I don't know whether this is my window or something, because the play rate is completely different. Let me believe that I can flow with it as it move along. It looks better now. My name is Daddy KRIS, and this is SRTV London. I'm broadcasting right now to Robo Television, which is my favorite platform, and this is SRTV, which is my own product. For those of you that don't know, SRTV is a global, I call it a Pan-African TV station set up to broadcast around the world. Currently, we are in London and we are in Abuja, Nigeria. Our office is still in Lagos, and I'm originally from Delta State, so my office is also in Delta. But tonight, I want us to talk about something very important, something I've been working on for so long. I may not have enough time to dwell on it, but over the weekend we'll do that. But there's no better day to actually remember that today is a very important day in our life. It's Easter, it's Good Friday. And I actually was looking for a good image to share with you, to say Happy Good Friday. It's one of those things. There are two things in this world. I don't know, those of us Black people, Good Friday will mean different things to us, to different people. And for me, if you remember, from Good Friday to Black Friday, I don't know whether you guys ever heard of that. I don't know whether it is good for us as Black people or it is bad for us as Black people. But I think it would be fair. Today is a beautiful day in the Christian calendar. Easter break is around the corner, and I know many of you are enjoying your holiday. So I want to say a very happy Good Friday to you all. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And as a Christian and somebody who has spent part of his life going to church, it is very important that we share this moment together. So it's a Good Friday to you all. For those of you that don't know much about Good Friday, please don't know that today is the day that Jesus Christ was killed. He didn't just die, they killed him. And there's a very big history. And when I come here and I talk about Jesus, I get emotional, because even if you don't believe in Jesus Christ as Son of God or anything, you will agree with me, for those of us who are activists, that Jesus Christ came and he fought a wrong system. That's the only thing I want you to take tonight. He came, the system he met on earth was a wrong one, and he fought the battle. And just about the time we were thinking that Jesus Christ has been killed, they actually made Jesus into who he is today. Because I never seen somebody talk about late Jesus. Have you heard that? Nobody say about late Jesus. Because Jesus was mortalized. And I agree that he rose away from the dead. Because there's nobody that ever used the word late Jesus. They're late, late. Jesus Christ is never late. And as we speak in the whole world, people around the world are celebrating the death of Jesus Christ. And if you look at, for those of us who are Catholic, you look at the three mysteries. I know I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We have the glorious mystery, we have the joyful mystery, and the sorrowful mystery. This is the time we transit from sorrow to glory. So I want you to understand. Most of you go to church, you don't even follow it. Today is the day we transit from sorrow, and by Monday we are in the glorious mystery. That's when Jesus Christ rose away from death. This is a very important time. And perhaps it's a time for us to think about how we want to live our life, or the kind of life we live in. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, like I said, but I want to just touch on it. What kind of life are you living? How much are you prepared to bear? Pain-wise, have you seen pain? Do you cry? Do you mourn? Do you complain? I came around one day and I said, let's sacrifice for Nigeria. And people were saying, oh, I'm not ready to die for Nigeria. I hear. But the only reason you go to church today is because somebody died. Those of you go to church and clap your hands and do all the rubbish tonight is because Jesus Christ paid the price. The price was not free. He has to die. And I always say the symbolic of in fact, Jesus Christ is so symbolic. And I look at the Bible and I wonder what is going on. I don't know what God really wanted. I'm not God, but I'm going to quote God because he did it. The first time you look at the Bible, you talk about covenant. How do you create a covenant with God? Let's talk about it properly tonight. Covenant with God. Have you ever heard the word covenant? If you go to your Bible, you know, I'm not a good child of, I'm not a good student of Bible study, but I'm going to pick the ones I remember. You guys will have other stories of covenant in the Bible, but I'm going to pick the important ones for me. The first man in the Bible who God reconciled with after the whole shit Adam and Eve, all of them did, was Abraham. Abraham was said to be a faithful man, a good father, and he had a covenant with God. You know what that covenant? You know, Abraham wanted this covenant. God, no, okay, son, I will make a covenant with you. A covenant is a bond, an agreement, an internal agreement. It's never done without blood. Oh, let me say that again. A covenant is never done without blood. I've never seen it anywhere. Covenant is always, if you do, those days they say two people vow and they suck their blood. If you try it, you will see it. Go and love your girlfriend a lot. Suck blood, one another. You know what I'm saying. Covenant is never with blood. So God said to Abraham, let me cut my long story short. Go, sacrifice your first son to me. Abraham was crying. What did the Bible say? Abraham was said to be the most faithful man in the Bible. Am I right? But Abraham was moaning. God, I didn't have a child on time. For all this while I've been waiting, only this one I have. At this age of my life, you want me to sacrifice him? My only son? Do you hear me, people? Abraham said, this thing go hard. God sacrificed. When God saw the way Abraham was mourning, God had to wave it. And he said to him, okay, leave your son. The Bible tells us Abraham was about to do it. Abraham was mourning. Go look at the other side, you see a ram. Bring it, sacrifice him, make the covenant. Now, what Abraham agreed with God was not written in the Bible, but there was a covenant. The covenant was actually the atonement of sins committed by Adam and Eve. And after that covenant, people, I want you guys to listen to me. If you read the rest stories in the Bible, there was stories where you see the burnt offering, all the offerings that were done at that time. In the Old Testament, go and look at it. So the covenant of Abraham led to sacrifices of goat, ram, because that was what Abraham gave to God. From that moment, that was what I read in the Bible. Those of you can quote me wrong, but I'm quoting my own. Listen, at my age today, nobody tell me things anymore. I read and I judge for myself. Because God speaks to me. I don't know why he speaks to you. You are not better than me. You cannot be hearing from God more than me. If I speak right, God will correct me. So this is what I have to go out. So what I saw in the Bible in that sequence were things like that. And when I see my forefathers, that tradition followed my forefathers. Because in those days where I grew up with my grandfather, when any woman do something wrong or somebody do something wrong in the community, Urobo habit. You have to bring goats. You know, they will sacrifice it and you'll be fine. It happened. For those of you that are now Christians, I know, but it happened in my time. Now, one of the ways we atoned for sins was sacrifice of goat, ram, chicken, all. That was the covenant, which God said, okay, I will no more be looking at your sin at that moment. I'll be looking at the blood shed. It's a covenant which originated from Abraham discussing that with God for the atonement of sins, we then had to what? Sacrifice animals. This. And for those of you that don't understand this theory, I love the Bible so much. If you look at the Bible, if you get the divine, you guys listen, you guys read, you don't watch. Pastor come and preach this for you. Nobody preached this for me. This is my own take. I read further in the Bible, I got to the book of Kings, 2 Kings or so, yes. And there was this king in the Bible. Whoa, with two. This king was such a stubborn man. He was so stubborn. I don't know how many people are on the platform with me tonight, because I know you guys are not ready. You guys don't even know whether I'm broadcasting anymore. But I assume that you will get on. Some of you will come and watch the show later on. But that is cool. And for some reason now, I have left Robo Television more or less. It's like I'm broadcasting more now on SRTV, but SRTV and Robo Television, I'm speaking the same language. I know you guys can hear me. So what I'm trying to say tonight is the covenant of Abraham and God led to the what? To the sacrifices of lamb, goats, all of them. And I saw it in my culture. I don't know about your culture. If you look very carefully, your culture must have something to do with sacrifices. Go and bring this, go and bring this, go and bring that. Sacrifice. These are ordained sacrifice made between Abraham and God. Okay. I know many people are going to attack me tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much, Johnson. So that was the sacrifice of Abraham and God. When you read the Bible further, when you get to the book of Kings, there was a time in the story where it said God, in fact, the children of Israel have defeated. They have literally defeated this city. They've conquered it. It was done. You know what that king did? He sacrificed his first son. I don't know whether whether my system is operating well. We'll get to live with that tonight. He sacrificed his first son to God. He didn't even use the word God. He sacrificed his first son to the God of the world. Go and read. The gods of the world. And Israel were defeated. Go and read that. Israel was defeated because of that. And the son was the heir to the throne. So in those days, when the king died, okay, like we saw it now, the Queen of England died. King Charles, we now have King Charles. It's been so. We're still practicing it. That hereditary system of governance is there. Okay, what I want to say is, at the end of the day, something you must understand about the power of sacrifice or the power of covenant. And covenant is always at what? For the atonement of sins. Whatever sins that kingdom sin that made God angry with them, that sin was nullified by the sacrifice of that first son to the gods of the world. It is automatic. And now I tell you people why I'm a Christian. That's what I'm trying to say. Why I accept the gospel of Jesus Christ. When I read further in the Bible and I find that Jesus Christ was the only person whose death, in fact, you will say only Jesus, but I have other stories I can tell you, because I'll say that tonight before I leave, because if I don't say it, I'll be doing injustice to history. If you look at your culture, you that is watching me today, if you look at your culture very well, you will hear stories I am about to say now in your own culture. But I'm going to tell you my own story. I am an Urobo man, and I want you to take this story from me tonight, because I'm going to close it with Jesus. For those of you to understand the power of sacrifice. And this sacrifice is always the case where people are oppressed. In fact, sometimes they wanted to, even the West, they wanted to kill anybody. They said, in fact, when they killed Saddam Hussein, no, not Saddam Hussein, Bin Laden, they made sure they bury him somewhere. Otherwise, people will start to worship him. Do you see where they bury him? No. Because if anybody is killed unjustly, I'm not saying they killed relying unjustly. That's the politics of their own. It got nothing to do with me. But what I'm trying to say is that when you do that, you might end up making the person a martyr. Let me explain this further. There's a time in my place. You know, we the Urhobos, we were like in those days slaves to the Benin. We grow in Bendel State. You guys know the truth. They call us Usobo. When they want to make sacrifice, they come and carry us. Okay. There was a time in that history where the man that was, you know, every Oba had a prophet. We call him the oracles. You know, he tells the Oba what is going on, what not to do, what to do. Because we always say a king must have a prophet. A king that does not have a prophet is not a king, because you're going to die. You need the spiritual angle of your life. So for those of you who are in governance today, you need a prophet. And I know, I can see that. I saw when Goodluck Jonathan went and kneel down for Adeboye. They all, and the latest story now, whether it's true or not, Peter talking to Bishop Oyedepo. I don't know whether the story is true, but at the end of the day, I can understand it if it is true, because you respect the men of God, because they've been given that kind of authority. I'm not going to go into that. Some of them I agree, some I don't. But what is important to me tonight is this man, the Oba of Benin, then have this man who's like an outsider. He's the one that plays oracle for the Oba. If you say Oba don't go here, Oba will not go. If Oba go here, because he's known, he's a truthful man. He doesn't say, it's only what that thing say he will say. On this faithful day, my people, the guy throw his oracle. We call it Ora, Oba, Eva, Rubona Gbefa. Throw his oracle. And it is say, Oba, before 12 o'clock tonight, today, some people are coming to take you. In those days, Oba is the second to God. If you listen to the Benin, go and do the story of the Oba of Benin. They believe that the Oba come from heaven. It's not an ordinary human being. So if you say Oba, anything you say to Oba must be good, good, good. You don't tell Oba rubbish. If you say anything rubbish to Oba, you're gone. So on this faithful day, my brother, I didn't plan to present topic. If you see what I wanted to talk about tonight, the Spirit led me and I'm doing it. The topic I want is tapping on our history. I'm going to do it quickly. I'm going to come back to this story. So the man told the oracle, he said, Oba, before 12, something's wrong going to happen. They warned him. Logboshere is his name. The man's name is Logboshere. Logboshere, is it correct? You know what you just done? Threatening Oba. If what you said is not true, we're going to sacrifice you to Oba's shrine. The man said, but what he said is true. It's what he saw that he just mentioned. He said, you know the implication. If what you say now is not true, you know what we'll do to you? He said, yes. Listen to me, my people. Before 12, before it is 12 o'clock, this will say, yeah, come. You said, so people are coming. It's 2 minutes, it's about 20 minutes to 12. Now, where are they? The man said, but it is what he saw. They sacrificed him. You know what I say? The way they killed Jesus, they killed him to Oba's shrine. At exactly 12, the British arrived, Benin, and they took the Oba Veramin away. If you listen to Okpa, who played that song, he said, that is, let me run whether I will get to Oba of Sulu, because as they were taking him away. Now, this is the most important part of it. God gave us a covenant again. Those of you might not agree, but when it comes to our own are fake. Now you both correct. There was a covenant that if you play that in again, for it to speak to you, that oracle, for it to work, you will say, oh, look, Bushere, you will adore that name first. Otherwise, you will not see anything. That oracle will not say a word. Quote me till tomorrow. I'm not saying yesterday. That's why you see any true oracles. When he throw this, you say, oh, look, Bushere, thing will come out. Now let's go to the story of Jesus. I'm not comparing, no. I'm talking of the power of sacrifice. So maybe my topic today is sacrifice. I love it a lot. And I told you guys I'm going to form a church, and the name of my church is Church of Sacrifice. I've been saying it. And before I will leave this earth, that church will exist. Now, you know what I love about this? The story of Jesus is very clear, which is on this very day we are celebrating now. Many of you are mourning. I just called my staff in Abuja. She's so sad. He said today is Easter Day, it's Good Friday. She's gone to work. She's so sad, really sad. And I said, oh, poor girl, sorry. I didn't know what to say, so I had to beg and run away from the phone because I made them to work. The time she's supposed to go to church, she couldn't go. So I am sorry for that. But the KRIS is guilty. The story of Jesus. These people have thieves, criminals who they could kill. They said no, that Jesus Christ did one thing, that Jesus Christ blasphemed for saying the truth. I want you to understand one thing here. You see what is common with these people? They all said the truth. Ologboshare said the truth. The truth annoyed them. They killed him. Jesus Christ only told them that you cannot turn my father's house to a den of thieves. And if I say that, pastors will be very angry with me tonight. You people have turned the house of God, especially those of you in Africa, to a den of thieves. You're using the name of God to extort people. And when I read the Bible, if the Bible served me correctly, the only time Jesus Christ was angry in the Bible, and Jesus Christ physically, he didn't wait for God. Is he not God? Jesus Christ performed miracles. He could tell all of them to fall and die. Jesus Christ was angry. He threw the things away. He said, how can you do this in my father's house? Do you hear me, people? It's the story of Jesus Christ talking inside the synagogue, challenging the Pharisees and the Sadducees that they did one thing, that they turned the house of God. They've done it, they've been doing everything. Peacefully, Jesus Christ only talk about it. But when he saw that scene of people turning the house of God to money making, where they were gambling, God was upset. And he actually did not wait. He physically attacked them. And I want to say this. Have you ever read any portion of the Bible where you see Jesus Christ got angry? That's the only time. But you go to church today, pastor collect money from you. You're not angry at me, I know. Don't worry. I can deal with it. I don't give a damn. I always say to people, I'm 55 years old now. Who give me now, self now fool? Because I'm old enough. God self, not if you take me now, because God knows I be cargo that I be now. Anytime you call me now, I go say, Papa, they come. No complaint. I'm not going to say, they wait. I spent 55 years of my life, and I'm going to spend the rest saying the truth. Jesus Christ was angry for once that people turned the house of God into a place where they were making money. Go and ask yourself, if you have ears, listen to me. Now, it was that thing that angered the people that want Jesus Christ to die. They blame it on blasphemy. What did Jesus Christ say? He said, you cannot use the house of God to place where you make money. Many of you looking at me now, you turn the house of God to where you make money now. I know it's not a good thing to preach for you on a Good Friday, but I just felt, thank God my system is not even good, so it's not letting me speak as normal. I don't know where it's coming from, but I have to finish this sermon. It's a sermon tonight. You that turn the house of God to a money-making depot, don't forget what Jesus Christ did. And for those of you that go to church like me and see your money being misused, because that was what was happening there. It was gambling. Oh, there's different between gambling and what the pastor is doing now. It's actually better to gamble than to deceive you and take all your money. That rubbish will not happen in Europe. What is happening in Africa? It will not happen in Europe. But who am I to say? In Jesus' name, amen. But let's go now to complete the Bible. It was that anger. It was that thing that infuriated them. When Jesus Christ said, when there was opportunity to nail Jesus, they said, oh, we want him. The people. Okay, for those of you who are Christians, I want you to get this. It was not Muslims that killed Jesus. It was not the Romans that colonized the place that killed Jesus. It was Jesus' own people, the Jewish people. They said they should bring him. This man was confused. He said, why this man? I will give you one of the thieves. They said, no, they want the righteous man. That was why Pontius Pilate washed his hands. That my hands will not be upon this man. They didn't stop him. They didn't care. They ended up humiliating him, putting taunts, calling him King of Jews, throw him all kind of names, got the man naked, pierced. I used to read the Bible if you're a Catholic. He said, they pierced my bone with sword. I cannot count my bones. Jesus Christ passed on. Now I want you to understand this. There are three elements in it: truth, blood, and what will God do? God will revenge. That's why God said, in the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Is it not true? They're not born you well when you don't recognize that Jesus Christ is not Lord. It's not a thing that was made by man. It's not by our power. It is so. Go and read. Go and follow. I've given you incidents as I'm coming tonight. Those of you that have a point to watch this show, I'm unfortunate that the thing is not doing well. I don't know what's wrong with my system. I have to change computer tomorrow. But that's what I saw. My message tonight is sacrifice. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to relate this to what happened. I'm afraid to say this, but somebody there wrote about it, about Nigerian politics. He said for democracy to come back to Nigeria, two people, innocent people, have to die. I don't know whether they are innocent or not. Abiola died. Let's forget about Abacha. Abacha was the one chasing him. But at the end of the day, Abiola died. And you think, you guys were praising Buhari for honoring the memory of Abiola, now called June 12th. It is not a man-made thing. It is an ordained thing from God. By the sacrifice Moshood Abiola made, that name can never go down in history. You like it or not. Moshood, you know when I notice it, let me tell you this story, my people. I wish I had the image here now to share with you. I went to Abuja for the first time to do an event called The Next President. It's a political show. So I was looking for a venue to do this. I went around the whole, and I discovered the National Stadium. And when I got to the National Stadium, what I was trying to do, I'm still doing the show. It's a show I designed for young people to train themselves in politics. So it's a competition. Just like the people go and sing and win. In the case of X Factor, I created this platform where people run for the office of the president. On a TV show, I call it The Next President. I went to Abuja to do the show, and I was walking, looking for everywhere to do. I ran into the Ministry of Youth, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. And when I got there, I told them, okay, what premises do you have? They showed me the National Stadium. Now, when I got to the National Stadium, this is one thing that interests me. You know what is there? It is called Moshood Abiola MKO National Stadium. I want you to listen to my message tonight. It's called Moshood Abiola National Stadium. That's our national stadium today. It's named after Abiola. They've not even finished. It is now a national holiday in Nigeria, June 12th. We move all the things we do. A lot of things going to happen on June 12th. Because that is the day that Nigeria got redeemed. So Nigeria has been saved. We don't need to do it again. That's why. Otherwise, Peter would have been killed. Nigeria has been saved. I'm talking prophecy here. I'm talking deep here. Deal with it if you cannot. Nigeria has been saved. We don't need more blood sacrifice. Moshood Abiola has paid. And God has made a new covenant with Nigeria. Now, let's move on. If God has done that, then where are we in Nigeria today? We just did an election that is come and gone. Now, in a twist of a miracle, a lot of people are going to keep dying for Nigeria to be free because the price has been paid. Maybe the only thing we've not done well is to remember that in the name of Moshood Abiola, if you don't like, use June 12th. Because June 12th is a memory. In fact, you know the show I'm doing in December, I'm trying to move it to June 12th. That the final of that celebration is happening on June 12th. I may not be able to achieve that this year, but come next year, that's when I will do it. June 12th. Because it is very, very symbolic in the history of Nigeria. Abiola died for Nigeria to be saved. And a covenant has been made. Do not tamper with Nigerian current democracy. You get yourself killed. Not me. It's the power above that will struck you. Anyway, I'm not going to do that one. But what I want to say tonight, for those of us who are Christians, who go to church, we need to understand the power of sacrifice. My staff, my girl in Abuja who does all the things, she said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die for Nigeria. I said, well, you don't even need to die anymore because the sacrifice has been made. Otherwise, it's not what you're saying. I would have gone into war. Again, Nigeria would have been fighting war now. That's why before the election, we thought everything is going to happen. Nigeria is going to break. Nigeria will not break. A sacrifice, a bond has been made. Unless you're able to untie that bond. And when somebody dies in the course of anything, that battle has been won. The way Jesus Christ won that battle, Abiola has won the battle of a good Nigeria for us. All we need to do now is take it. And it's coming, whether we like it or not. So you should be scared when you plan evil for Nigeria. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to do much talk on that tonight. It's a lecture I didn't plan to do, and I wanted to do a topic called Tapping on the Future. That is what I'm on our destiny. Is what I wanted to really talk about. If you look behind me, there's something I call there, Who is Coming to London. Now, I created this package 2 years ago. It was meant to happen last year. And the package is called Nigerian Week. Actually, I named it Nigeria the Park. So it's gone through a lot of stages to get to the name I now finally picked, Nigeria Week. And actually, I was having this discussion at the Ministry of Information and Culture. And the guy said, oh, we not even mind, which I should do Nigeria, I should do Africa Week. I said, I know, but Nigeria needs redemption. The voice of Nigeria needs to be heard. Maybe I am not powerful enough. You know, there was a time Jesus Christ knew they were going to kill him, so he left. I have a mission, I need to complete it. So I'm taking Nigerians out so that we can talk. And on this thing, on what I really want to talk about, on the theme of this one is tapping on our destiny. And that is the lecture I'm going to give. It's going to be 3 minutes. I know I have 5 minutes to talk, to open the event. And the title is Tapping on Our Destiny. And I've not written it down, but it's here. How do you tap on your destiny? I'm going to be brief, because when I come back tomorrow, I have more time to actually talk about it. How do you tap on your destiny? A destiny is something already made by God. So you just need to wake it up and it becomes yours. We have a very prosperous destiny. Because Jesus did his own, Abiola has done one for Nigeria. Through Jesus we save. That's why I go to church. I believe in the sacrifice Jesus Christ made. And I know God passed on a covenant. And that's why we say, Jesus Christ, before he died, he said, this is my body, which shall be given unto you. That was not enough. Body is nothing. Then he went further. He said, this is the cup That's the cup of the blood. He said, this is the blood, my blood, which shall be shed for all men, the blood of the new and everlasting covenant, which shall be shed through all men for the forgiveness. Look at the word, for the forgiveness of sin. I don't know whether you get this. For the forgiveness of sin. I want you to take it back to what happened to Abraham. Abraham did a sacrifice with God. What did he do? He gave, because he didn't want to sacrifice his son. That's what God wanted. That's when this world would have been redeemed. Had Abraham sacrificed Isaac, the world would have been redeemed. He didn't. So, okay, let's go further. Now, God gave him a covenant. But that covenant is with a clause. With that covenant, anything you do, if you commit a sin, if you bring a goat and you sacrifice it, your sin is forgiven. Have you ever not gone through this? For those of you who are Urobo, come from my place, you know what I'm saying. If a woman in those days commit adultery in Urobo land, in our ethnic, that woman will go and bring goats and sacrifice it to our ancestors. That is the only way. Otherwise, the children will start dying. The husband will die if the husband knows about it. I'm talking here. That is a covenant that came from who? From Abraham. So when they say, I am the son, I am the descendant of Abraham, how can it not be? God does not have one law for this nation, another law for this nation. That's why I say, if you call me Gentile, I'll give you a slap. We are all born equal. We are all equal in the sight of God. Whatever happened everywhere is the same. You see, I one time, somebody said, oh, I don't like Oyibo thing. No, nothing like Oyibo thing. Every knowledge on earth belongs to God. That you have it now. You don't need to go and create another one. Somebody created electricity. It's probably not an Englishman. The person that created mobile phone is probably not an American. I know the man that made penicillin is a man from Scotland. So a lot of things, these are knowledge revealed to man. You don't need to go and do it again because all knowledge is scientific. God is science. They said that's why God is so omnipotent. He knows everything. God is knowledge. If you have God in you, what you have is knowledge, an embodiment of knowledge. And I said to you people, there's nothing God can do that you cannot do. The only difference between you and God is God have time, you don't have time. Because the same God that is of my great-grandfather, they are all gone. They don't even remember them. Even Michael Jackson of yesterday, we don't even remember him. Have you ever seen God forgotten? God is the one. In fact, if you like, build the whole world, take the whole money in this world, steal it, build it. After some few years now, you will die. Who owns the properties? God. This electricity we've created now, as I'm coming down from plane and I'm looking at the beautiful sky in the United Kingdom, in London, I say, oh God, human being has created it to the glory of God. God cannot fault us. And that thing is not done for you. You see, you don't even need some of the things to say, hey, it's to the glory of God, to you, to God be glory. It's already to his glory. Anything you do on earth is you're doing it for God. You think it's your own, God will be laughing at you. How many years do you have on earth? You will still die now. You're like an ant. Human beings are the most fragile. And I said to myself, why am I struggling? For God's sake, I just want to sit down and enjoy my life. Or just that people won't give me the chance to. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you understand, if you read things for yourself and make your own history, that's why people like us can write a book. Because I'm not writing the book from the Bible point of view. If you listen to my lecture today, I'm not reading the book from the Bible point of view. I'm not reading it from my African culture point of view. I'm not reading it I've written it from my knowledge, which I gathered from all this, and I call it a revelation from God. And I will do it. Especially when I talk about sacrifice. So when I say to people, I want to have a church, and the name of my church will be called the Church of Sacrifice, they get confused by something I believe in deeply. I don't know even who I am. The way you don't know who you are. You think you know what you're doing. You don't. We just witnessed a horrible election in Nigeria. And in the course of this election, I've been looking at the things, the drama playing, and I keep laughing to myself. And I say one thing, and I'm going to say this now. Do you want to be free? Your freedom is no more in the hand of God. The freedom of Nigeria is no more in the hand of God because a sacrifice has been made. Who made the sacrifice? And I said it without looking back. The blood of Moshood Abiola was a sacrifice. It's not me I'm not the one that remembers June 12th. Am I the one? So I'm not the one talking. I'm not the one that made Abiola a martyr. I am not. You did. The blood of sacrifice that was made has redeemed Nigeria. All we need to do is actually tap on it. So we're not going down. We're going to go forward. And I really wish the obedient kids can understand this and adopt the simple strategy I want to say now. And I want to say this to all Nigerians. What we need right now is enlightenment. We just need to educate our people on the importance, on the nothingness of this world, on the importance of democracy, which we all agree to practice, and how we can defeat the demons of our time. You know, all these things I've been looking at. Look at the Bible. Look at the Bible. Look at the Bible. It's always the people against the few. Let me use the word. It's always the people against the very few. The very few are those that have the power that controls. The people that killed Olubushere were the Oba and the few people that, in fact, it's not the Oba. Oba may not even want to the man killed. But the people that say, one that don't talk finish, Oba, you know, have you not read the case of John the Baptist? It was not the king that wanted John the Baptist to die. It was the wife, stupid woman, who told the daughter, tell the Oba this. The king have to do it. When Oba says something, they don't take their word back. That's what, but the blood of Olubushere, yeah. Oh. In fact, those of you who are not scared to me, I dare say this. Abraham was a problem to us. Had Abraham done it, we would have been saved long ago. But okay, it doesn't matter. Jesus Christ has come to do it. The reason I know that Abraham didn't do it was why? Olubushere did it. They were forced to. The king, whose son was the heir apparent to a throne, did it. And you saw, it is not tomorrow. They're not waiting for the result to happen tomorrow. It happened now. Now, I won't say further. So what I want to say is Nigeria has now been blessed. And sometimes you guys think you're not progressing. You're progressing. I was in Nigeria last. I can see the massive progress. It's just that the pace at which we are now seeing the West with the internet, you know, we have to be like the West the same day, which I can understand. But they don't deceive themselves going to church every Sunday or going to mosque every Friday to get redemption. They redeem themselves. Because what Jesus Christ was saying is not to go and watch people, go and sit down there in the name of Jesus. I'm happy, new pastors are not telling you the truth. That if you cry, if you do everything, you will not be rich. Faith without work, it's rubbish. Jesus Christ is an empowerment. Let me repeat that. Jesus Christ is an empowerment. That is for your own good. It's not one stupid pastor that's going to tell you. Understand Jesus. Take it. There is power in the blood of Jesus. Fact. You don't need pastor to preach it, to give it to you. There is power in the blood that is sacrificed today. The reason I know is Abraham escaped it. And every time I have followed in my life, I've seen the power in those blood of the people that died. Innocent people that died, they turn out to be, that's always a reward. Am I allowed to say this? Am I allowed to say this, my people? If you go to the whole of Africa, the last genocide I can remember is Rwanda. Let me repeat that. The last genocide that happened was in Rwanda. Rwanda is the fastest growing African nation today. People don't die in vain. I end my story there. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daddy KRIS. I don't have a lot of strength because like I said, I'm really very, very, very strong. But I'm here to just share this few moments with you. What I come to talk about tonight, I will do it again. So I'll talk about the Nigerian week, what it's all about, and what I mean by tapping on your destiny. Because you, as a Nigerian, you are blessed. Let me quickly touch a little bit, 2 minutes on it, and I'll close the show. You, as a Nigerian, you're blessed. But it's not God that is going to come and give you the blessing. Individually, you're blessed. As a group, you're blessed. Let me tell you this. Do you know that if Nigerians educate one another, there's nobody that would have won an election by ringing it? The demon in us, the top men are always using us, and we refuse to wait to free ourselves. God cannot help us. God has given us life free. We said we want to buy it, and we keep selling ourselves as slaves. The same way we sold ourselves as slaves to the white people, the same way we are not selling ourselves as slaves to our own people, because they cannot enslave us. If you say Tinubu ring election, could Tinubu have ring the election if you didn't support him? Was Tinubu in every polling booth? How can you blame Tinubu for what happened? Tinubu did nothing wrong. Yes, sir, Godwin. Godwin, oh my God, I will let Godwin, it's only you I will listen to this night before I end this show. I can't go without you. I'll call you now, sir, so we can hear from you. So my people, the truth is, the sacrifice, we don't need one person to come and free Nigeria. All we need is just make up our mind, and I don't want to be a slave anymore. And it's only one language we need to sing. And you know the gospel we need to preach in Nigeria, not the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus Christ is a symbolic. Jesus Christ is a sign. He has set you free by the blood of Jesus. The same way Muhammad has done his own. A lot of things has happened on earth. So we are now free. But you need to do your own part now. You need to proclaim it. And the proclamation we need is we no more want to be slaves in Nigeria. The language, which is what I'm going to preach when I come back to Nigeria now, no to slavery. I don't know how to say it anymore. My message to Nigerians is no to slavery. Some of them, we enslave ourselves. That was why I want to speak to the topic today, tapping on your destiny. Enslaving yourself. But actually, some of us will still sell ourselves as slaves. And I can explain that in a very simple way. And I wish I would spend tomorrow on that. We have continued to enslave ourselves. We love being slaves, Nigerians. We sold ourselves as slaves in those days to the white people. They are signed in America today, all over the world. Our people were taken there as slaves. Africans, clap for yourself. Now, just like what happened in the Bible, they are ready to come back and rebuild Africa for you. But you refuse to even open the door for them to come. Now, all of you want to come back to the same place where you sold your brother. You know what happened to the days of of Joseph? And those of you in Europe now keep celebrating. You know what happened to Joseph? A time came. Write this down. Maybe we will no more be here when this prophecy will come to pass. A time came when the whole of the children of Israel saw their brother in Joseph in the promised land, in the new land of Egypt, where there was milk and honey. They packed their load. They ran, crossed the Red Sea by themselves now to go and meet their brother. I want you to repeat that. They crossed the Red Sea to go and meet their brother, Joseph, who was squatting in another man's land. Today, in our history, all people in Africa are running to Europe. The wealth is there. The wealth is in Africa, but we are running to Europe for the same wealth. In fact, I don't know, you run away from wealth to be a slave. I don't know how to put that. God will help us to understand this. Only God can explain what I want to explain now. I better keep quiet. But then you do that. You make yourself a slave. Now, coming to Europe, a time will come when these people here will say, You people are too much now. Because the first king that received the children of Israel were happy. They welcomed them. They gave them a place. Until they found out that these guys are now prosperous. Taking over the whole place. If you understand what happened to Hitler, Hitler was jealous of the Jewish people. They were making more money than the Germans were going to Jews to borrow money. Hitler said no. Now black people are all over Europe. They are making money. They are making progress. This is not your land. If time will come, we pray not. I pray that my prophecy fail. That people here will say, no, you can't come to our land and take everything. You can't come to our land and begin to rule us. God did not give you this land. Go to where you're coming from. It may be 200 years again. God have to do his things. It might even take another 500 years. That 500 years you're talking about is nothing in the sight of God. Because God is always around. He's not going to die you. So you're thanking time. God doesn't understand time. God is somebody that doesn't know time. Time is not in the book of God. He's going to remain who he is. He's not getting older. He's not getting younger. God is God. In fact, the more God stays, the more wisdom he acquires, the more experience. So, I better keep quiet tonight because I don't think the word is ready for my message. We sold ourselves then. We're selling ourselves now again. And when the time comes for us to go back, it's not going to come easy. It's going to come with pains. You know how long it took the children of Israel to walk in the desert? They stayed in the desert for how many years before they could get back to where they are now? The generation that left Egypt, they did not get to Africa. They did not get to Israel. No, listen. The generation that left Egypt didn't get to Jerusalem. Those who have died, it took how many generations would have gone there? So don't get it wrong. That time you're thinking of is nothing in the presence of God. Whatever sin we commit, our children will pick it, unfortunately. Anyway, like I said, I'm not really in that good frame of mind to do this show longer than now. So I'm going to try and pack it up. And when I come back tomorrow, I'm going to try and see if I can do any justice to the story, to what I really want to talk about, tapping our destiny. We sold ourselves as slave then. We're selling ourselves as slave now. Now selling ourselves as slave to one another. You're talking, those days you say Africans. No, we were not having slaves before the white people came. It's a big lie. We were already enslaving one another in Africa. Before white people came, in fact, we introduced them to slave trade. It was your culture, and it remained your culture to enslave yourselves. Can I repeat that? It's the black man culture to enslave themselves. Let me explain this. For those of you that have been talking to them, doesn't listen. Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say that when I finish this, I'm going to close the show. And I say, to hell with you that is angry. Let me explain this. Where is the wisdom? I'm talking now. Where is the wisdom for a human being to earn over 3 billion? Okowa's money is over 3 billion in a month. The same place cannot afford. The same society cannot afford to pay somebody 30,000 naira. The governor earns over 3 billion a month. That one can't earn 30,000 naira. Maybe you don't know what is slave trade. You don't know what's a slave. That is the true slavery. Somebody telling you to do this, that one is archaic. True slavery is that, and that was what we're doing. Today we still have slaves in Africa. Among ourselves, so it's not the white man that's doing it. Oh, because the only reason I know, I've been in Europe, there's dignity in labor. A slave is somebody that doesn't get well paid for whatever he's doing. You are a slave. Anytime somebody gives you a job and you're not paid well, you are a slave. We don't have slaves in Europe, and I can say it. Because in UK, if you do a job, being a cleaner, whatever, you will be well paid. And that's why we don't have gate men. We don't have drivers. I say it again and again. That's my slogan in this show. Since I've been in Europe, I don't know anybody with a personal driver. Go and see the fools in Africa. As I'm talking now, my soul, my heart is bleeding to see how many stupid people with drivers with their fat stomach enslaving your brother. And you're saying that the white man enslaves you? Wait, is the white man the one that kept your brother as slave, that put him as a gate man, that give him the rotten food to eat? Whereas the country have enough to share? Don't we have enough to share in Nigeria? How much do we have? 1, 2, 3 persons in Nigeria can pay all Nigerian people, and we will all eat well. They never kidnap us rich. I'm not going to say more. So they just say I'm preaching violence. I'm preaching hatred. If you guys allow me to continue, it's going to be rough. Let me close my mouth. I need to take a break. Godwin, are you there? If you are there, I'll just talk to Godwin and then go home and sleep. I can't stand this. I am too old. You see, it's painful. I see whether I can just quickly make this call to Godwin and I'm just going to leave here, man. I cannot. You see, you guys make me confused. You know, you call on God's name. You don't know what is slave. You don't understand this. What I have said tonight. If you go and look at this message that I delivered tonight, hopefully I will have it will come to a point where Godwin is the only person I want to talk to. Godwin.
Orobomena.
Avovo.
Orobomena.
Avovo is a God.
Niovo
God will bless you, my brother.
Oganaka wo mapopo.
Say.
Viroro. Omre unyocha omre na. Oyara but adeta. Oikoji nyomi. Oyre no isava brisen unyocha. Oyo rowo kobaro. Unyocha obuko yora. Go by with Jesus Christ. The reason I walk with Jesus Christ, if you didn't know,
that's one of it.
And I like Obiabi. We don't learn from history. What them was it maybe 4 days, 5 days ago? In Popo, every wish here, Ocha Oyen, which cost Kisira, Ota Saris, Obiabi, one of Boruro. Treat what watch because and deal with.
Okay.
Boro treaty a reason. Or did you treaty which or take you to treaty which so Obiabi, Ubi Rotoma. We Rotoma then the nice Bugasara. I bibi Rotoma. A problem I have bosso, Casa Bosso. So we have a long way to go.
Godwin, what I don't understand is how can let's be sincere with ourselves. Only 3 people in Nigeria can pay all the money they say we are owing. They can make our lives very beautiful. Now, Godwin, you're here now. How many of the people in Britain use private jets? Godwin, we're here. How many of the people you see here use private jets? Have chicken driver. Look at the country where we come from.
We slogan of Nigeria, I big past my neighbor.
I love it. I better pass my neighbor.
I better pass my neighbor.
What else are the generator?
Mentality.
Godwin, we were enslaving ourselves, and we still continue to enslave ourselves now. It was European. They said, no, we cannot allow this thing to happen to our neighbor. Godwin, funny enough, we don't read the law. They say, they will ask you, who is your neighbor? There's a neighbor principle in law. Say, who is your neighbor? It's somebody who your action or omission will affect negatively. It's your neighbor. In a society you live, if your action or omission affect anybody, positively or negatively, that person is your neighbor.
Okay. Go back to history. I senior or I miss a moniaji and I be cyberma. It will communal life.
God will bless you. God, if you go to my grandfather's house, if you go to my grandfather's house now, you see the next compound. The auntie built a house there. Our auntie, because my grandfather showed her the place, go and build a house. Even where my grandmom had a place in Ugarefi, it was Uncle Dixon's father, we call him Mojo. He's the one that gave that place to my grandmom to build the house. So in those days, people don't build this hard, massive, stupid fence. Shame on you. Since when you see our parents building this massive fence?
I have a PI recently now. Unfortunately, we are when are supposed to have okay only for a family or for any family kid there, and I be arranging when now other than okay. But a Pakwa go take on nation, go take over winner. Take over winner for more than 10 years. And we call it now. Former.
Good.
Call former.
Godwin,
so
no, Godwin, it's foolishness. Africans, you see this election that happened now. I'm going to talk about the foolishness of Nigeria on the show. The foolishness, because only me and you, with one good mind, would have saved Nigeria. But because of our selfishness, the Igbo man go say, because he want to succeed, Igbo man won't go get a post. He go say, you don't consign me, and they look for my family and my children. Your family and children don't get light today. And you are talking to me that Nigeria is bad. God punish you. When you intentionally destroy it, who is your neighbor? You see, Godwin, until we understand the concept of who is our neighbor, and begin to build society. I say to Africans every day on my show that it was not government in Europe that introduced welfare package. It was the rich people. Because they know that when the rich poor man don't have food to eat, their security as the rich people is at stake. So they come up with the package so that give them something.
Even though I do equally. Huh? Oh, wait, no, what we get where carry
God bless you. In those days, when our forefathers want to eat, the man will sit down. This woman will bring this. This one, the food will be brought to the same place, the same mat. And you see all the children and the brothers and the sisters and the wives, they will sit down and all of them will eat. Only Muslims are still doing that too. They will sit down in one place and cut from the same bread. We Africans, oh God, it's not. Sometimes the way we defeat ourselves, we turn ourselves into slaves. You see, I'm more interested in this slave aspect, which we continue to make ourselves slaves, Godwin. Like what this guy, KRIS is saying here. He said, "I better pass my neighbor." It's the slogan that describes the hatred we have for one another as Africans.
It's just unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. And because the reason I know, Tinubu, go and look at how many fleet of vehicles Tinubu have. That man no go sleep for one. He no go fit enter in the car before he go die. Tinubu not fit fuck woman again. No, so I know we'll talk and finish. What's he going to do with the money? that Tinubu cannot create equal opportunity for the whole country. Tinubu, if you live another 20 years, now God punish you. Why would you be that greedy, sir? I feel sorry for you. Because in fact, this slave trade we practice, and it's an institutional thing. Tell me the reason why a stupid governor. This is why when you become governor in Nigeria, you are like a god. If you are a senator, hallelujah. Forget president. That one, heaven in the state. Whereas you talk of hell, heaven and hell. Is it not in Nigeria? In Nigeria, you see some people with the massive beautiful cars.
Buhari Wuru or big president in Nigeria. Buhari the vice president. I Wuru na who in Nigeria. I Wuru na. Obio waiting for 8 good years. A joy organic punish so bike room corona I carry you shall I can vote unless I did could
let's try and do it tomorrow. Thank you so much, God.
Okay, no problem. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is where I'm going to end the show tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to spend a lot of time to come back to this issue of slave trade, and so that we all can understand how slavery has destroyed our society. And when I preach it, if I have any message for Nigeria, slave trade should be eliminated. You, pastor, you are a slave trader. And you carry the Bible. You're trading with men of God, children of God, just like they were doing in this. Jesus Christ was angry. Remember, those of you that went to church today, the Jesus Christ you are talking about today, the importance of the death of Jesus Christ, I've analyzed it today. The only time that man was angry was when they used the house of God to steal money. What are you doing about it? And my mouth is shut. In Jesus' name. Let's close the show.
SR TV. Innovative content.